Guess what, all you folks out there in YouTube land? You probably already decided that there was no way I could actually get my laptop up and running by myself. And frankly, I didn't think so either. But my granddaughter is at that age where she has way more important things to do than to spend quality time with her grandfather. God knows I was there once myself. So I decided to go and break out this laptop and learn it all by myself. And while I am way down on the list of how much I've actually mastered, of course, the first thing I had to do was see if I could actually take her on a live chat. And holy cow, we actually have a person, Georgia Iris. You will go down in history as the first participant of the live chat on the new system. And she says, hi, T-Pawns, and a hi, T-Pawns back to you. I'm only going to be on for a few minutes right now, just because, like I say, it's a shakedown cruise. I wanted to see if I'm actually up and going. Couple questions. I'm assuming you can see me okay. I'm assuming you can hear me okay. Is the volume okay? Is the picture quality okay? I think I might need to mess around with the lighting. I'm actually doing this from my kitchen, which has one really poor ceiling lamp in it. And I can't tell from your end, but my end I look pink. So, future reference, I'll have to find a place with a little better lighting at least. Georgia says yes to everything. That is great. So far so good. See two participants. So Tom Lemery says hi, Thrash Tom. Hi to you too. Yeah. Don't know how much of this you heard. Now, this is gonna be one of those live chats where I probably repeat myself like a lot. But yeah, I finally broke out the laptop. Ain't she a beauty? And I was bored and climbing the walls. It's this really rainy day here on Cape Cod. It's one of those really dreary, draining, chilly. I actually was on the deck and actually got cold. When I feel cold, that's cold. And so I really can't do much. My wife and I tried to think of some errands we could run. We couldn't. We just lack motivation. So I broke out the laptop, and guess what I'm on? Yes, this live chat is actually from the new laptop. And I'm still mastering it. I got a lot more. I got so much more I can do with this one. But I'm like, I can't wait. I have to go on. Well, because it doesn't matter how much I can do with it. If I can't actually do live chats with it, all the stuff is just, well, I could make better posts, but not better live chats. Anyway, while you guys are here, don't forget to like. I see two participants and 0 likes. Come, people. We can do better than that. While we're here, oh yes, I don't know if you guys caught it. I am doing a live chat this Tuesday. And so far, this one has a nice little white dot, so I'll try to remember to look into the picture. Tom Lemery brings up a great point. Zuper is going to faint. You got your new laptop running. Yes, he is. He's been in good-natured ribbing. He's been making fun of me for, well, weeks at this point, making fun of me for having this awesome new laptop, which I hadn't even got. Well, I got it out of the box. I got some great pictures of it, but I haven't done anything with it. So, yes, he is going to have a heart attack when he sees this in a good-natured kind of way. But anyway, the topic for this coming Tuesday is, and I'm going to, as always, we're going to go general. Tug and I were talking about the inspirations to Avatar. We were talking about how most good science fiction is inspired by earlier science fiction. And Cameron said that Avatar is basically an amalgam of every science fiction book you read as a kid. We want to expand on that. We actually want to talk about the different sources. Tug already has his favorite. I got a couple of mine. But not only are we going to keep it to the Avatar and the sort of, I don't want to say copyright infringement, but let's just say the natural progression. This is an homage to that, and that is an homage to this. There have been many times we've talked about how the good science fiction has its origins in previous science fiction. So that's going to be the overall theme of Tuesday's chat. What favorite science fiction of yours is actually derived from earlier science fiction? Avatar, probably the cornerstone. Neutron John in the house says hello. So great to see you. Keith E. Hello. What an unexpected surprise. And Lance Chafin says hiya, Thrash. And for those of you who came in late, This wasn't even scripted. What I did was, out of sheer boredom, I broke out the laptop and I taught it to myself. Yes, all by myself. I'm so proud of myself. I'm almost a tech junkie again. Back in the early 80s, I was considered a tech junkie. Then somehow I became a caveman as the technology advanced and I did not. Well, I can actually use equipment again. I'm so proud of myself. But yeah, I'm taking this thing on a little shakedown post. And so nice to see you guys. Don't forget to hit the likes. Tom Lemmy says Georgia, John Joe, Keith E, Neutron John, Lance. Oh, he's saying a big hi, how you do to all of you. And let's see some more likes in the corner. Keith E says, why are you talking? LOL. Why, I'm certainly trying to. Lance Chafin says, just had some homemade tacos. Ooh, I love homemade tacos. Soft shell or hard shell. I prefer the soft shell myself. I like wrapping them. You know what I'm saying? Plus, they tend to shatter with the hard shells. And then all the toppings go everywhere. And of course, I'm wearing the right color shirt for taco night, though, aren't I? My granddad always said you could tell how good the food is by how much is on you when you're done eating. John Doe brings up an excellent point, or Neutron John, that's my nickname for him. But John Doe brings up an excellent point for Bin Planet is a good one. And it is, and you want to know why, and I'm sure you guys already do. But that's sort of cross genre. I mean, it's science fiction, but it's based on Shakespeare. And those are really, really fun when you do a rendition of something in a completely different setting. When I was in college many, many, many years ago, there was a local acting group that did The Prince and the Pauper, but set it in a post-apocalyptic time frame. Some kids I actually went to school with actually did a post-apocalyptic version of Macbeth. So it's actually funny how much Shakespeare loans himself to the post-apocalyptic genre, probably because a lot of his works take place immediately following a devastating war. But yes, it is a good one. Oh, Lynn says soft shells. Yeah, you probably like them for the same reason I do. John Doe says people are starting to come. Well, you know what? What the heck? Let's stay on for a few minutes. Unless my wife has decided she wants to go run some errands, I think I'm in for the duration tonight. Daily Dan the Good Stuff says, greetings. Let me guess, from South Carolina. Oh, and I think we got some of your nasty weather, Dan. Thanks for joining. Daily Dan says, W2F, I didn't know you were going live. Tisk, tisk. Well, this is a pleasant surprise, particularly for you, because you know what I'm on? I'm not on that aging dinosaur personal computer in my living room. That's why I changed a venue. This is actually my revamped dining room. I broke out the laptop and has been messing around with it. And I decided to see if I could go live with it. This wasn't even intended. In fact, I originally intended just to stay on for a few minutes and then shut her down. I didn't even think any of you guys would show up, but we're already at a half a dozen. So this was going to be a surprise. Well, actually, it is a surprise for you because this is the piece of equipment that will let me do the dual projects, guest projects, whatever we've been calling them, that we've been talking about for the last 6 months. This is the piece of equipment that will let Dan and I do one of our many, many, many scripted but not filmed collaborations. Tom Lemry says, Keithy, he is declamped. That is, he got his laptop running. Declamped. I love that. I love that. Yes, I am the reverse of emotionally devastated. Lance Chafin says, been watching the old Wild Wild West TV series. I should have put that on myself, but then I would have never gotten around to opening up this. Big Guys 45 says, hello there. Hey, Big Guys, how you doing? Hey, how's the phone working? Were you able to charge it properly? I'm assuming you did because you're here. But either way, glad you were joining us. Big Guys 45 says, I noticed you lost 2 subs. Bummer. I can't speak to that. I had gotten like 6 new ones after Retro Nerd Girl did her marathon live chat, and then overnight I lost like 4 of them. I don't know if people were just being polite and that wasn't their thing. I don't know if, well, you know what? And I was just talking with Pat about this. I am going to stop obsessing about my subscriber count because I can't control it. I'm going to keep putting out material to my level of satisfaction. And I'm going to try to keep it to everyone else's level of satisfaction. And if you enjoy it, great. Subscribe. If you don't, or if you subscribe and I'm not for you, no harm, no foul. But I'm not going to let it bum me out. I know it's easier said than done. And I'm sure the next time I lose a subscriber, I'll overthink that one too. But my goal is to, I'm not saying I don't care, but I'm just not going to bother me. And there is a difference. John Dosa, speaking of Shakespeare, Ethan Hawke did a good Hamlet. I never saw that version. I do like Hamlet, but I never saw that one. Dan says, well, have you downloaded the StreamYard yet? No, I literally, like 15 minutes ago, I actually got this thing running. And I just wanted to see if I could get it to do live chat without too many headaches. I had to reset all my passwords because, well, I won't bore you with the details, but I had to reset all my passwords. And sometimes I had to reset them because resetting one on one device bounced me out of another. It was something about, but I'm here. Keith E says, you're in luck. I just checked the news feed and nobody died today. Are we going to start that again? I guess that's not worthy. I think there was more to it than that. Everyone did seem, and I'm not going to point fingers. There's a new thing, and I just recently read about it. It's called Thursday the 12th, and I'm not making this up. Or maybe I am, you tell me. But it is the anxiety people get over Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, we're there, it's done, we're living through it, no harm, no foul. The anticipation is causing people anxiety, and I think that's why people are on pins and needles on Thursdays the 12th. That's just my theory. But it did seem people were a little on Thursday, myself included, I think. But Gail is Sarah. Dan says, sorry, dude, R.I.P. Robbie Knievel. You know Evil's son. We certainly do know Evil's son, and rest in peace, Robbie, same name as me. Big Guy says, I have my phone off. I'm going to use it tomorrow. Georgia Erez says, I own the Wild Wild West series on DVD. Me too. Daryl Johnson says, Bob, my other brother Daryl, how you doing? Lance Chafin says, yeah, Dan, first Adam, then Lisa, now Robbie. Crazy times. I know. Apparently there have been more casualties in recent than we thought. A lot of people having fellowship. Daryl John says, so who died now? Don't ask for whom the bell tolls. Robbie Knievel is probably the biggest name we have right now. Oh no. Robert Bachman also passed on at the age of 69. He died this morning. R.I.P. Mr. Bachman Turner Overdrive. Tom Leary says, love soft tacos too for the reasons you mentioned. Yes, I know. They don't explode when you're trying to eat them. My granddaughter went through a phase where they ate the infamous spaghetti tacos. And a little secret, spaghetti tacos are so much better with the soft shell. Trust me, because you don't want spaghetti going everywhere. Lance Chafin says, Tom and Spanish rice. I just had brown rice last night for dinner. You know what I did? I'm not going to lose any weight this way. I took the brown rice and I mixed it with some mac and cheese. Delicious. And hamburgers on the side. Cheeseburgers in my case. Little cheese with your cheese. John Doe says, face it, death is killing everyone. Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely, Mrs. Moneypenny. Death is going to get us all. And I'm going to learn to look at that white dot if it kills me. I'm a narcissist, so I look directly at me the whole time I talk. I'll see what I can do. Dan says, there's a great old movie horror spoof called Saturday the 14th. You're not going to believe this. That old associate of mine I'm always talking about, the one that gives me like the gifts of old movies and whatnot, that 50 Features of Creatures is one of them. Many, many, many years ago, he's a few years older than I am, but many, many, many years ago, he actually went out to Hollywood to make it in the film industry, not as an actor, but to do special effects back in the days when special effects were there was a big call for it. And he never quite made it in the industry, which is why he came back to Cape Cod, story a thousand times. But while he was up there, he ended up working in a shop for special effects people and worked on Saturday the 14th. True story. But yes, Saturday the 14th is a very funny movie. Big Guys 45 says, Thrash Bondo Pawns, ever watched and or enjoyed any Coen Brothers movies at all? I'm wondering and curious, LOL. Big fan of many of the films and works, LOL. Several, actually. My wife's favorite, because she has a George Clooney crush, is "Oh Brother, Where," she's laughing in the other room, "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" Which I enjoyed, but it's her favorite. Um, absolutely, absolutely love Big Lebowski. Fargo is outstanding as well. Might even like Fargo better than The Big Lebowski. What was that other one he did? George Clooney did it. He did another one. Uh, about the lawyer who comes up with the ironclad prenup. Oh, and I also enjoy the TV show, Fargo, which is funny because each season is microcosmic. I haven't seen the first one, but I've enjoyed all the others. So yes, I do enjoy the Coen Brothers very, very, very much. Dan gives us a link to New Shock Theater. Thank you. John Doe says there's 2 of 3 parts to Saturday the 14th. I'm guessing that's an or, 2 or 3 parts. There was another Saturday the 14th, and there may have been a third that went direct to video. Not 100%. Other brother Daryl reminds us to hit the like button. Big Guys 45 says Fargo is wonderful. Yeah, I honestly I think Fargo might just be my favorite Coen Brothers movie. And again, the TV series were amazing as well. Tom Lemley says maybe the screen won't jump now. Don't want to jinx it. Well, and here's the crazy thing so far, guys. This laptop has a built-in camera, la di da, and 2 built-in speakers. That's why I keep wondering how the sound is. Any issues on quality and sound and/or picture, let me know. But I'm not even using my good camera, which is still attached to my personal computer. I'm using the built-in one. Like I said, this was just a shakedown cruise to make sure the technology was up and running. John Doe says, "Ain't the winged serpent Cone movie?" That's a very good question. Okay, there were the Coen brothers, and then there was Larry Cohen. Larry Cohen was a horror movie maker. He's best known for doing It's Alive and the It's Alive franchise. He also did something called Q the Winged Serpent and The Stuff. I just did a retrospect on The Stuff, of course. I can't believe it took me a second to think of that. But a lot of people confuse the Coen brothers with Larry Cohen. And then there's, of course, Larry Buchanan, who's known for doing ripoffs of other filmmakers who did low budget films. He would rip off these low budget films and do an even more low budget version of them. And some people confuse Larry Cohen with Lawrence Buchanan. So there's a lot going on there, John. But no, the Q the Winged Serpent was a Larry Cohen movie. And there's another one I can't think of to save my life. But I saw where you were going. Lance Chapin says Transylvania 65,000. Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum was very funny. Was that the movie they met in, or was it the first Fly movie? Was that they met during one movie? But Tom Leary says, "Gotta go. Take care." Tom, so glad you could make it. Thank you for this shakedown cruise. I hopefully see you Tuesday when there will be even better production value. Daily Dan says Clooney best from Dusk Till Dawn, the Robert Rodriguez movie. He was great in that because he played an honest to God badass. I thought he was great in that movie. Keithy says, Tom, thanks for your comment about the computer. Just took me a while to get there as far as doing replies. Sometimes they just get past me, but I appreciate the shout out about directions computer. Hopefully he got all that. If Tom's still here. Georgia Iris says, I'll keep getting your name right if I have to practice. How do you like summer school with Mark Harlan? That doesn't sound right. Not Mark Hamill. Hondo was the guy from St. Elsewhere who was in summer school. He looks like my dad.
What?
The guy who from summer school.
Don't know.
Mark, he was in St. Elsewhere. Mark something or other. Is it Mark Hamill? All right. He was married to Pam Dauber. It still is, I believe. I like that movie. It was very good. Keithy says, I love summer school with the blonde from 2.5 Men. Lance Chafin says, Keith Courtney Thorne Smith, who was also in. She was in that movie with James Belushi. And if we're going way back, she was in a very, very, very short-lived Fast Times at Ridgemont High TV series, and another one that was a spin-off of Family Ties, which names eludes me. It were these two corporate giants that decide they want to get out of the rat race, so they retire and found a daycare facility. It was cute, but it didn't last long. Kevin Scott 76 says, "Caught you live." Yes, and I'm going to repeat for those of you who've been around from the beginning. You're probably sick of this. I finally broke out the new laptop, and after a little tweaking, I decided to take it on a little spin to see if I had any trouble going live with it. And so far, so good. So I intended initially to only do it for a couple of minutes. It's approaching a half an hour, but I'm glad you could make it. Now we're just kind of keeping the party going with just some random sci-fi stuff. Big Guys 45 says, I'll be going. Bye for now, but hopefully I'll see you Tuesday, because remember, Tuesday, 8 p.m., I'm doing another scripted live chat. Kevin Scott Smith says, what's the story? I believe I've already answered that. If you were unclear, I think I'd be happy to elaborate. John Doe says, Return to Splatter High was a good Clooney movie, mix of Scream and Scooby-Doo. If you've seen it, I haven't seen that one, but I loved him in, of all things, Return of the Killer Tomatoes. Yes, there was a sequel to the Killer Tomatoes, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Yes, I do own it. Yes, my wife has watched it with me again. George Clooney crush, and frankly, I thought he stole the movie because it was a spoof of a spoof, and that's kind of a tall order. But George Clooney, he just went through it like he was having so much fun making this film. And if you haven't seen Return of the Killer Tomatoes, please do. The funniest whole shtick they do is they run out of money halfway through. So they decide they're going to do endorsements. And George Clooney has this whole bit he's doing with this guy who is supposedly like an extra. And they just do all these like advertisements in the movie for various product placements. And it's a riot the way he does it. I actually did a spoof on that when I had some local access. We're going to leave real early. Local access TV back in the day when such a thing existed. Keith E says, yes, those names kill me. Names I'm trying to say the word in Siri won't put in their hyphen. You paint a vivid picture. I'm so sorry. Dan says, Mark Harmon. Yes, thank you. Harmon. I was stuck on Hamill for some reason, but Harmon it is. Thank you, Mark Harmon, who was in St. Elsewhere. Lance Chafin says, Day by Day. Very good, Lance. Very good. Day by Day was the name of the short-lived TV series, which I thought was very cute, but apparently I was in a minority. Not the first time. Gary Carpenter says, hey there, everyone. I'm here. Gary, I'm so glad you could make it. Yeah, just taking the new laptop out for a spin. I finally got the whole thing up and going and decided to see if I could go live with it. And holy smokes, my people were here to greet me. I can't tell you how proud I am. How many of you have jumped in? John Doe says, Killer Tomatoes has 4 parts? You're putting me on. I believe it. I've only seen the first 2. Are you including the animated series? There was an animated series back in the early 90s. I'm not making that up. There was oh, he goes on to say, and a tune. There you go. There were, I think, 2 seasons. Believe it or not, yeah, 2 seasons. Daryl Johnson says, "Thanks for warning, Gary." Yes, Gary, thank you for the thank you for the warning. People love. Oh, he's clapping at JD and JD. Dun, dun, dun. Nick Momoa says, "Hi, everyone. Nick, haven't seen you in a while. How you been, man?" Yeah, just I finally remember that laptop that I've been talking about since Christmas. Well, I finally got it going. I'm just doing a little test spin, and a lot of people have come out to see me, and so we're just kind of having fun, random questions about general science fiction, vintage, old classic TV and films, preferred spoofs or serious, or spoofs that have become serious, or serious that lend themselves to spoofs. Gary Carpenter says, "I know I'm late. Just found it. Actually, you're the reason you just found it is because this wasn't scripted. It was all impromptu. Like as I say, I didn't even keep. I didn't intend to keep. I'm doing my lacquer routine. I didn't intend to keep it going this long. I was just going to do a couple minutes. But since people joined in, I'm like, let's have some fun." Georgia Aris says, "I think George Clooney got his start in Facts of Life. I think you are correct. I believe that was his first big break. He was also in a short-lived TV adaptation of Look Who's Talking." Kevin Scott's 76. I'm just stuck on you, Kevin. Finished watching season 11 of The Walking Dead. OMG. I turned out after Total War, but people have been begging me to say, "Bob, you have to watch the last couple of seasons. Cringe watch it, binge watch it, grudge watch it if you have to, but you have to." So I will continue the investment of assets. Gary Carpenter says, "And then there was on the Golden Girls. Everyone was on the Golden Girls at one point or another. Leslie Nielsen played one of their boyfriends." Nick Momoa says, "I'm good. So good to hear it." Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, so I'm so glad you're doing well. Gary Carpenter says, "R.I.P. Lisa Marie Presley." Definitely. We were discussing in the last live chat. Very, very, very sad. Nick goes on to ask, "How are you, Thrash Pondo?" I'm doing well. I've managed to get my laptop up and going. I have some free time. Long story short, the restaurant that I work at is closed for this month for some renovations where they're putting in a new kitchen. Nothing wrong with the old one, but just old, you know. So they're putting in a new one. It's going to take about a month or so to get the whole thing up and running. So right now I am on a sabbatical. I've been temporarily laid off, which is why I'm home at what should be dinner service on a Saturday night. So the good news is it's afforded me more time to do some stuff with my technology. Thank you for asking. Keithy says, "My hippopotamus just came in here screaming thumbs up, or in his case, hooves. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Only hippopotamus will do." John Doe says, "Without the threat of death, there's no reason to live." I think I could live without fear of death, but yeah, I'm sure you're probably right. It certainly makes it worth living, or at least tells us why we should make it worth living. Nick says, "I didn't see the British version, but I liked Life on Mars with Harvey Keitel." Anything Harvey Keitel in is good. Speaking of which, we were just talking about From Dusk Till Dawn, and he was amazing in that, playing against type. Gary Carpenter says, "In other words, it's being facelifted." Actually, because it's the back of the house, the face of the house isn't changing. They did that actually last year. The front of the house looks beautiful. The kitchen is just, and it's fine. It's just the equipment is old. And hopefully we're going to have a new pizza oven that does a little more lickety split. It's gotten to the point where we hate when people order pizzas because it slows the whole dinner service down. Although our pizzas are Yumsville. Oh, now I want pizza. So does my wife, apparently. Miss Chapin says, "Hooves your daddy." It behooves you to ask that question. Gary says, "Did you trim your beard?" Actually, no, I haven't trimmed the beard since I went on sabbatical. That's why it's getting all kind of bushy. In fact, as you can see, I'm doing that like old man thing where normally I keep the beard kind of cropped, but now it's kind of growing to the side of the face. So I have probably the fullest beard I've had in months. Kevin says there's a British version of that 70s show with all the same scripts. I had heard that somewhere. Oh, a 90s show is just coming out. Oh, my wife has handed me something. It is a beard buddy. Apparently, this will help me groom somehow. Isn't she great, guys? There we are. Thank you. And where was I? Nick says, I heard both Lisa Marie Presley and Robbie Knievel. Yeah, Robbie Knievel. Oh, and don't forget Robbie Bachman from Bachman Turner Overdrive for all you 70s music buffs out there. Neutron John says, have you ever done a review of BBC Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Not on my channel, but ages ago when I first started doing collabs with ENC, we did a compare and contrast, and we did the book and the TV series and the movie of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's pretty extensive, so you can probably find that on his channel. I'd be happy to do one solo, but I'd pretty much just be saying the same things. Basically, I loved the book, particularly the first two, Hitchhiker's Guide and Restaurant at the End of the Universe. I loved the BBC miniseries, and I was not a particular fan of the movie. I felt, okay, give me a second on this one. Whenever you have like high concept science fiction or fantasy, particularly based on a very, very set and specific predecessor, a book series particularly, when you go rogue to give it mass appeal, first of all, you're not going to pull in people who didn't want to watch it aren't going to watch it when you polish it up for them. They're still not interested. What you're going to do is you're going to alienate the only people who are going to watch this movie in the first place, the people who've actually read the books. I will never forget. I can count on one hand the number of times in my life I've done this. I shut off a movie. Someone said you have to see the Dungeons and Dragons movie, and I put it in, and I shut it off halfway. Well, not even halfway, like a quarter way in. I go, oh my god, it's the movie itself is making fun of the people who used to play Dungeons and Dragons. They're going rogue. They're changing a lot of the details. I mean, there's a very set Dungeons and Dragons universe, and when you start messing with it, and I'm like, I watch it going, is this a joke? So correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm being a sci-fi snob, let me know. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of the first movie because I felt they made some modifications that weren't called for. Keithy says, hello, Gary. I saw your message. Usually these fly past me. Buffalo, I love X. Control Surrey is making me sound incoherent. Well, if it's making you sound incoherent, actually, I got most of that. So you're thanking people for their messages. Kevin says, I met Robbie Knievel at a party in Las Vegas. Nice guy. Never met him, but I've heard he was a nice guy. Mr. Led is joining us. Led. Darn Thrash, you can't keep up. Oh, there was no one. I can't. I'm going to assume it's I. Can't keep up with you. Just back from getting my car inspected. And surprise. Hi, everybody. I can listen while I put Xmas stuff back in the attic. It's an excellent time. My wife is actually wrapping a present for a baby shower she's going to, and we were just joking that none of the wrapping paper we still have is valid because it's all Christmas paper, so it's all going back into the attic, and she's going to go out and get cute baby paper this week. But yes, Mr. Lid, this is just a quick test. I've been on for almost 45 minutes. I finally broke out that new laptop. You guys can almost say this along with me. Broke out the new laptop and just took it out for a test live chat. So glad you could make it. But this was totally non-scripted. And I hope all the people who see this in replay and go, GG, Pawns, why did you tell me? Well, because I didn't know myself until I did it. It was that lack of impulse control we're always talking about. Danny Staten says another like because he's using his alternate technology. Keithy says, "Hello, Mr. Led. I can see you tonight," which is unusual. Usually, fly, ride 100 miles an hour like Gary X. Yes, yes. I'm glad he can see you, and you can see him. And other brother Daryl says GF is planning on taking the Christmas tree down. Remember, you have until January 1st. Oh, wait. Kevin says I'm putting up Xmas stuff in the garage as well. Wow, we're all behind the eight ball. Neutron John says D&D has 3 parts, but for some reason part 3 is only available in the UK. Like I say, I only saw the first one, and I can't even say I saw that. Again, if you guys like it, great, but I couldn't do it. Mr. Linson sounds good. Oh, good. So the sound quality of this. Okay, riddle me this, guys. Would you say the sound quality on this device is good or not as good as the sound quality at other times I've used? Because I'm actually just using the one in the laptop itself. I haven't broken out any of my microphones. And my wife also got me a really good microphone for this. But again, this was just the Shakedown cruise. But let me know. I do know I'm going to need better lighting at some point, but we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. Gary Carpenter says all of my Christmas stuff is down, but I've got to put it back away. Let me guess, in the attic. Do you know that when I dream, and I'm not entirely sure why, when I dream, I am terribly afraid of attics. I do. I am definitely afraid of attics. I don't like going in them. I don't like if someone leaves the attic door open. I don't like looking into it. I am definitely afraid of attics. Look who is here. SCJ, otherwise known or better known as Spooky Creepy J, says congrats on the new laptop. Yay! Everybody, if you haven't subscribed to Spooky Creepy J, you've got to. He's a horror buff like me. And what he did was he took a bunch of those old 80s horror anthology shows. This is even more than I could remember. But what he does is he does retrospects on them. And then at the end, if it sounds good, you can actually, most of them you can find on YouTube or another streaming service. You can go back and watch them in their entirety. But he does like the Hitchhiker, and Monsters, and some of the other good ones. And again, they're in like these like nice little concise 7 or 8 minute bites. And again, they're almost like mini watch-alongs where he does a condensed part. So you kind of get the gist of the show. So if you like it, it's satisfying. If you want more, you can see the whole episode. But you've got to check out Spooky Creepy J. He's done some great stuff. And I love the last couple you did, by the way. Great, great stuff. Maybe sometime we could have you on our show too, by the way. Do like a horror anthology cavalcade or something. Keithy says, Ian mentioned the viewing hours. How viewing hours do you have in comparison? I'm going way up. I'm going way, way up, but I'm still, I need 4,000 hours before I get monetized. But of course, I also need at least 1,000 subscribers. And remember, I'm not letting those get me down. This at the moment is a hobby. A getting expensive hobby, I got to tell you, but it's a hobby. But yeah, I'll need at least 1,000 subscriber. Bartleby the Scrivener. At least 1,000 Scriveners. Now I'm going to say Scriveners for the rest of my life. At least 1,000 subscribers before I can monetize, and about 4,000 hours. Although the rate things are going, particularly when I keep doing these live chats, I might have the hours before I have the subscribers. And I jump. Oh, let's just see. Mr. Lid says, sounds pretty darn good, just a little dark. Yeah, I have one cheap ceiling light in my dining room. That won't be an issue in future. Gary Carpenter says, I don't have an attic, but an add-on room. Oh, that sounds cool. Of course, I'm on a split level, so that might be tricky. I could always make my deck a 3-season room, and then just freeze in the winter. Zublik says, "Wow, this is so different." Oh, I was hoping you'd come by. Do you guys want to tell him, or should I? Superplex, I'm on the new laptop, and you said it wouldn't be done. Now, I haven't quite mastered it yet, but yes, I'm on the new technology. Ken Wilkinson is also here, says, "Good afternoon, Bob." And yes, good afternoon to you, Ken, and I'm finally on the new laptop. So glad you guys asked. Zublik says, "Now there is a curtain." Yes, that's actually a curtain. If you go through my curtain, you would see my porch. I had to close it because even though it was overcast, it was casting a lot of backlighting, and backlighting is the worst thing to film at. But of course, here on Cape Cod, it gets dark at about 4:20, so it's actually pitch black now. But yes, there's a nice curtain, nice nautical theme, huh? It's Cape Cod, It's we can't help it. Zubik says, "I hope Keith can hear us this time." He hasn't had any trouble so far. John Doe says, "I played Dungeons and Dragons as for the movie, it's good for me, mainly because I'm a fan of dragon movies, but never was able to watch Dragon Heart 1 through 4." Gotcha. So yeah, so if I can see how. Well, it's like what was the movie Dragon Slayer? A lot of my D&D fans didn't like Dragon Slayer because it took liberties with dragon lore. I'm like, Dragon Slayer is a separate entity. Dragons are actually, well, it's like vampires. The rules change from movie to movie. But when you actually make something out of Dungeons and Dragons, you have to use Dungeons and Dragons rules as canon. But again, I'm just being a baby head. Tracy Ross Myers in the house. Tracy, how you doing? I'm so glad you could make it for this, the first Shakedown cruise of my new laptop. Gary Cameron says, "Mr. Led, I'm not buffering." Such a relief. And again, I'm not even using my good camera. I'm just using the one that's on this laptop. I guess this laptop is has far more REMs and RAMs and ROMs. So it's a much smoother transfer than what had been that paperweight I call my personal computer. Zupalik says, "If God is," and he jumped. I almost had you. Actually, here it is. Oh, "If God is perfect, a man is made in the image of God, then what use does God have for us?" I don't have time to unravel your logic because it's God's will. How do you like them apples? Mr. Lynn says, "It was just a quick buffer." Hi, Tracy. Gary Garber says, "Getting cold here." Yeah, it's getting cold here too. Zublik says, "So you finally got the darn computer working." Yes, I did. I'm so all by myself. I'm so proud of myself. Yeah, I decided to let my granddaughter off the hook. She's at the age where she has far more important things to do than hang out with her grandfather. Zublik says the sphincter could have a sidekick name, Acid Reflux. Boy, were you up all night thinking of that? Trailer Myers, "I wouldn't mind an apple juice boat right now." What's an apple juice boat? Is that where you take the bottle the apple juice came in and make a boat out of it? I don't know. I work with what I got. Holy cow! It's 5 o'clock. I just looked at the time. It's 5 o'clock. So anyway, while the dozen of you are here, about LOL. While a dozen of you are here, and I've already mentioned this before, remember there is going to be a live chat this Tuesday at 8 p.m. Whether it's on this, it probably will be, or the other computer, I haven't quite decided. But there is going to be a live chat this Tuesday at 8 p.m. And we're going to be discussing, I think the short answer would be the evolution in sci-fi works. Specifically, I'll give you for instance, Avatar is based on many, many, many science fiction works. We're going to try to name as many of them as we possibly can. And then talk about how sci-fi basically evolves, where a good science fiction story has its origins in a previous sci-fi story, and so on and so on and so on. And John actually brought up an amazing point. It's not just from other science fiction stories. Shakespeare has loaned himself to excellent science fiction. Conrad, London, any number of other great authors who didn't write science fiction but have had their works modified to work very well in science fiction. I think we get a lot of mileage out of that. In any event, John Doe says, I made a team called the Fantastic Four Skins and their nemesis, Jockstrap. Garrett Garber says, okay, good, about the Tuesday chat, not about Jockstrap. Mr. Lid says, Invisible Man on Svengoolie tonight. I'll have to remember to see The Invisible Man. Zublik says, never seen Avatar. Well, again, you don't have to. It's about science fiction works that have been derived from earlier works. You follow? I'm sure you can name a few of them. John Doe said, Forbidden Planet based on The Tempest by Shakespeare, and so on and so on and so on. Gary Carpenter says, J.R.R. Tolkien. All right, those works certainly will. And Tracy is LOL to Doe. Anyway, I think that's all I'm going to do for tonight, by the way. I don't want to go too crazy in this new technology, and I want to master it a little bit more before I use it truly. There's all kinds of really cool things I can do with it that I can't wait to learn how to do. But anyway, thank you guys all for joining us. Be good, be safe, be careful. And I'm looking to see you all again very, very, very soon. And, of course, peace. Now, if I could just figure out how to shut the darn thing off.